welcome to the Good Fight Sports Podcast, your home for local sports here in the 574. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of the Good Fight Sports Podcast. My name is Kenny Cramer. I'm the host, and this is Sunday, June 4th. If you're wondering, yes, there's been 2 episodes recorded in one day. One was a special episode for the Indy 500. That was our previous episode. That was a special. This one is back to the regular scheduled programming, as we've stated before. This one is the sports end of everything that happened last week. In this one, there will be no Nick Sherk, unfortunately. He had a prior engagement. So it'll just be me this week for the sports. So we're going to jump right in here. New HNAC member. The rumors have been made official. Yes, North Miami is going to the Hoosier North Athletic Conference. It has been confirmed, and they will be in the Hoosier North starting in 2024-2025. So the Hoosier North has now got teams to replace both LaVille and Knox. They also added South Central for football only, picked up Oregon Davis, Argus, and North Miami. Really don't know if Oregon Davis is a step up from LaVille and Knox, or Knox. It is not, actually. I'll answer my own question. Yeah, terrible decision to pick up Oregon Davis for the Hoosier North. I would have done it extremely differently. Wouldn't even touch Oregon Davis with a 10-foot pole. They were pretty set in the conference they were in, the Hoosier Plains Conference. And I don't know why the Hoosier North decided, hey, you know who would be a good pickup? Oregon Davis. The last time Oregon Davis was good, that was back in girls basketball when they had head coach Terry Minix. Other than that, Oregon Davis has been terrible. Boys basketball hasn't been good since Travis Hanna was the head coach, and they won the state tournament back in, I believe, 2007, and they were good in 2008 or 2006. They were two good years in a row where they won over 20 games. They won a state championship, too, with Travis Hanna. And then Travis Hanna went to Glenn, and boys basketball for Oregon Davis went down the crapper. If you're an Oregon Davis alum or fan, sorry, not sorry. That's just the way it is. So moving on now, new Three Rivers Conference member. Northwestern has been approved and accepted into the Three Rivers Conference, and they will start in 2024-2025, and they are replacing North Miami. If you're wondering, no, I am not talking about Northwestern University. This is Northwestern High School. Believe they're just northwest of Knox, I think. They're in the Knox region, if I'm not mistaken. So they're down there, and it looks to me like the Three Rivers is starting to go south, which is abandoning the main members of that conference, which are the northern end schools of the conference: Rochester, Peru, Whitco, schools like that are in the conference now, and they're starting to go south. So does that mean that Rochester leaves the Three Rivers so that way the Three Rivers can go more south like it looks like they are? I don't know. That's what it looks like. It's mainly been a conspiracy on the pages and stuff that I follow for high school football, high school basketball, and just high school conference news, sports news in general, and stuff like that. That's what's talked about. It looks like the Three Rivers Conference is going more south, leaving the northern schools fending for themselves and having to travel ridiculous times to get to their games now. So we'll see what happens in the Three Rivers Conference. And conference in general, honestly, we're still not done with all of the realignment stuff. So we could be in for a whirlwind here before high school football starts. And we will have a schedule breakdown soon of LaVille. So if you're wondering, we will be doing another schedule breakdown before LaVille starts their football season. So you don't want to miss that. So going to high school baseball now. High school baseball has kind of been the big thing that's happened so far. So we're going to start in 4A. Penn Kingsman, defending state champs, won the Northridge sectional against Goshen, 10-0 in 6 innings. The Kingsmen advanced to the regionals in LaPorte Saturday, June 3rd, which would be yesterday. So yesterday, the Kingsmen defeated the Slicers for the regional title 6-2. Kingsman pitcher Adam Lehman threw a complete game and finished with 1 hit and 7 strikeouts. Those are labeled Ks if you're not into baseball. So if you see a K for baseball, that is a strikeout. I think it's frontwards K is a strikeout swinging, backwards K is the strikeout looking. I think that's how it works. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me. And then LaPorte finishes the year 20-10 overall and sectional champions. Obviously, the Kingsmen advance to the LaPorte semi-state and will face Lake Central in the first round of semi-state. Semi-state is 2 rounds. We have the semifinals and then the championship game at night. 3A, New Prairie won the John Glenn sectional at Newton Park in Lakeville, 10-1, and the Cougars will advance to play Andrean in the regionals. All of the regional games that I will say start on Saturday, or yesterday, June 3rd. So the Cougars yesterday lost to Andrean 9-4. Cougars finished the year 22-8-1 and sectional champions. Andrean moves on to face Norwell in the first round of the Oak Hill semi-state. 3A, also Mishawaka Marion won their sectional against arch rival South Bend St. Joe. Fun fact, that whole series, football, basketball, whatever sport it is between Marion and St. Joe is considered the Holy War. So if you ever hear of the Holy War, that's, for high school anyway, that's who they're talking about is Mishawaka Marion and South Bend St. Joe. So the Knights advanced to the Frankfort regional to face Frankfort in regionals. And so yesterday, the Knights lost to Frankfort 11-7. So Marion finishes the year 20-9 and sectional champions. Frankfort advances to to play Heritage in the first round of the Oak Hill semi-state as well. Moving on to 2A, Bremen won the Wabash sectional against Rochester 6-2, and the Lions now face Delphi yesterday in the regionals. The Lions came up short, lost 10-2. The Lions finished the year 11-15 and sectional champions. Delphi advances to play the winner of Winchester in the first round of the Kokomo semi-state. And then wrapping up 1A, Marquette Catholic won the Tri-Township sectional. Tri-Township is formerly known as La Crosse. So if you ever hear of Tri-Township, that is the former La Crosse High School. So fun fact there. They won that sectional against Triton in extra innings, 1-0. So the Blazers advanced to play Morgan Township in the regionals yesterday, and they won that one 4-3. The Cherokees finished the year. That's Marquette Catholic. That's Morgan Township, by the way. So the Morgan Township finishes the year 16-13, and sectional champions. The Blazers move on to the Lafayette Jefferson semi-state and will face Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian in that first round. So we're also going to move on to high school softball now. 4A, Penn. They won their sectional against Elkhart 13-2. So the Kingsmen move on to face South Bend St. Joe in regionals. And then South Bend St. Joe won the Mishawaka sectional against LaPorte 14-0. So obviously the Indians and Kingsmen move on to regional, and that was played at South Bend St. Joe in St. Joseph Park, up near the state line in South Bend. So the Kingsmen defeated St. Joe Tuesday night in front of 9,000 people was recorded at a high school softball game. They won. The Kingsmen won 3-0, and so Penn moved on to face Lafayette Harrison in the first round of that semi-state. And St. Joe finishes the year 27-4 sectional champions, and I believe they were Northern Indiana Conference champions at 11-0. I think I'm right on that. I think. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me. So moving on to semi-state for Penn yesterday. First round, Penn defeated West Lafayette Harrison, the hosts of that semi-state, 4-3. So Kingsman starting pitcher Olivia Signorino, she's now 3-0 after this win. Went 4 1/3 and finished with 1 earned run. Gave up 3 hits and got 4 strikeouts in those 4 1/3 innings. And then Aubrey Zachary came in as a closer, went 2 2/3 and finished with 1 earned run, gave up a hit, and got 2 strikeouts. Raider pitcher Rylan Gick went, who is now 14-4 after the loss. She pitched all 7 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, gave up 4 hits, but got 10 strikeouts. And then Harrison finishes the year 26-6, regional champions, sectional champions, and North Central Conference champions at 3-1. The Kingsmen, now 26-4-1, advanced to face Lake Central in the semi-state championship game yesterday. And the Kingsmen won that one by the score of 5-1. Olivia Signorino also pitched in that game for the Kingsmen, got the win, went all 7 innings, gave up 1 earned run, gave up 3 hits, got 10 strikeouts. Indians pitcher Sofia Calderero, who is now 16-4. Also, so back to Olivia Signorino. She's now 4-0 with this win. And then Calderaro is now 16-4. She went all 7 innings, finished with 5 earned runs, gave up 8 hits, and got 1 strikeout. So not the best showing for her. But the Lake Central Indians finished the year 29-5-1, regional champions, sectional champions, and Duneland Conference champions at 14-0. The Kingsmen now 27-4-1, advanced to the state finals, and they will face Indianapolis Roncalli, and they are 31-3-1. So it's going to be a tough game for the Kingsmen. My pick in that one will be Penn. I just think Penn has something going. And if they can get Olivia Signorino to pitch the way she has been in these last 2 games, I think there is – I don't see Roncalli pulling it off. Then again, I don't know a whole lot about both teams. I haven't been to a game, so this is all me going based on stats that I've seen for 2 games. So I might be wrong, I might not be, but I think Penn just has something going, and I like Penn in the game. I consider myself kind of a Penn fan. I like Penn football. Mostly a fan of the marching band. Marching band is a sport, by the way. You can't change my mind on that. But anyway, moving on to 3A softball. New Prairie won the Jimtown sectional against the host Jimtown Jimmies 10-0. The Cougars now move on to face Tippecanoe Valley in regionals, which the Cougars defeated Tippy Valley Tuesday 16-0. So the Cougars advanced to the Twin Lakes semi-state to face Hanover Central in the first round. And New Prairie won that one by the score of 12-2 in 5 innings. Cougar starting pitcher Ava Geyer went all 5 innings, finished with she gave up 5 hits, gave up 2 runs, and had 12 strikeouts. 0 earned runs, by the way. Wildcat pitcher Ellie Mowry went 2 2/3. And I don't like reading these two lines of stats here for Mowry and the next pitcher. It's just ugh. So Mowry gave up 6 earned runs, gave up 11 hits, gave up 7 runs, and only had 2 strikeouts. Dang. Not a good stat line. And then the next pitcher, Peyton Antikewicz, went 2 innings and finished with 4 earned runs, gave up 6 hits, also gave up 5 runs, and only had 4 strikeouts. Hanover Central Wildcats now finished the year 23-3, regional champions, sectional champions, and Greater South Shore champions at 10-1. Cougars advanced to face Leo in the semi-state championship game, and the Cougars defeated Leo by the score of 1-0. Ava Geyer again went all 7 innings, gave up only 2 hits, and only had 9 strikeouts. Had no earned runs, gave up no runs, only had 2 hits. It was a combined 2-hitter. It was a 2-hitter for Geyer. Complete game, just absolutely dominant. Leo finishes the year 26-2, regional champions and sectional champions. And the Cougars advance to the 3A state championship game against Tri-West Hendricks, and they are 27-5. So we're going to stay in 3A really quickly because East Noble won the Northwood sectional against Fairfield 9-4. East Noble now faces Leo in regionals, and Leo defeated the East Noble Knights 6-0. That was Tuesday. That was Tuesday. I don't remember the date. I'm sorry. So Leo faces Yorktown in the first round of the Twin Lakes semi-state. East Noble finishes the year 19-10 and sectional champions. Leo defeated Twin Lakes, defeated Yorktown to move on to face. Who'd they face? Oh, yeah. Face New Prairie. That's right. My bad. Leo faced New Prairie and then lost, obviously. I'm not going to recover that one. 2A, Hebron won the South Central Union Mills sectional against Wheeler 10-0. So Hebron moves on to face Andrean in the regionals, and unfortunately Hebron lost that one Tuesday to Andrean 5-0. Andrean moves on to face Delphi in the first round of the Warsaw semi-state. Hebron finished the year 26-4, sectional champions, and Porter County Conference champions at 7-0. Andrean lost to Delphi, and Delphi moved on to the semi-state championship game, I do believe. Staying in 2A, Lewis Cass won the Rochester sectional against Pioneer 15-5. The Kings now move on to face Delphi, and Delphi defeated them Tuesday by the score of 1-0. So Delphi moves on to face Andrean in the first round of the Warsaw semi-state. Lewis Cass finishes the year 7-21. That's the record I found on Max Preps. If I'm wrong in that, please correct me. According to Max Preps, and they finished as sectional champions as well. Delphi defeated, obviously, Andrean to move on to semi-state championship game. That's what. And then 1A to wrap up. Softball. Westville won their sectional against Triton 16-2. Blackhawks now move on to face Couts in regional, and Couts defeated the Blackhawks 7-6. So Couts moves on to face Caston, and Caston won that game. That game was played in the Frankfurt semi-state, and Westville finishes the year 18-9 and sectional champions. Whew, that was a lot. Now to breathe. So now we're going to jump right into college sports, and we're going to go right into lacrosse. Biggest thing that happened for lacrosse was Notre Dame Duke. That was for the national championship, and Notre Dame won their first ever men's lacrosse national championship Monday, May 29th on Memorial Day by the score of 13-9 over the top seed Duke Blue Devils. 7 different Irish players scored a goal during that game, which was absolutely incredible to watch and just incredible lacrosse talent on the field. We're going to get into a little bit more here in a little bit. And then 6 players scored. So 7 Irish players scored at least 1 goal, as I said. But then 6 of those players scored at least 2 goals. No one scored more than 2, but everyone at least had a goal who scored. And then goalie Liam Entenmann was named most outstanding player of the tournament after a record and season high 18 saves in the game. So we'll start off the first half. Notre Dame had a 6-1 lead at halftime, and Notre Dame was just dominant. It was just the defense was just outstanding. Chris Fake was playing Duke's best player offensively, and Brennan O'Neill, who won the Tewaaraton Award, shut him down. Only allowed Brennan O'Neill to get, I think, 2 points on the day. I think he got an assist and a goal. I don't think he scored 2 goals. I don't remember him scoring 2 goals. So Chris Fake was the unsung hero of the game for Notre Dame just because of his defense on Brennan O'Neill in the first half. Just amazing. And offensively, it took a little bit for Notre Dame to get going, but once they found their offensive rhythm, they got going in that first half. And then the second half hit, and Duke came out and scored 4 unanswered goals. Notre Dame answered with a quick goal, but Duke came right back, tied it up at 7. And then Notre Dame scored 2 more goals before the half ended, before that third quarter ended, to make it 9-7 going into the fourth quarter. And Notre Dame scored 4 goals in the fourth quarter to seal the deal and hold Duke to their lowest scoring the whole season. So Notre Dame held Duke in the first time they met was in Arlada Stadium back in April, and the score of that one was 17-12. Not as close as the scoreboard says. Notre Dame dominated that one too, and 12 was the lowest scoring for Duke during the season on 2 separate occasions. But Notre Dame held them to 9 points in the national championship. Just great defense. Liam Entenmann, obviously the catalyst of that defense for Notre Dame, just lights out. So, and then Pat Cavanaugh went on the Pat McAfee show just to do like an interview, and he was heard on there saying that both himself and Liam Entenmann will return for a 5th year. Players now get a 5th year. It's called the COVID year. I don't know when the NCAA is going to drop this. If they do, then cool. If they don't, cool. I'm kind of neutral either way. Obviously, when a good player for Notre Dame comes back, obviously I'm going to be a fan of it. But I really don't have a say in either if it's good or bad. But if they do come back, as Pat Cavanaugh has stated, that would be awesome, and I would highly expect Notre Dame to be the favorite to win the national championship next year if both of those players come back. We're going to stay with Irish lacrosse because they traveled to Germany a couple days after winning the national championship for a 10-day foreign tour. They left Wednesday, May 31st, if I'm not mistaken. And then they won the Nations Cup earlier today. I believe that there is a time difference. So when they won, I believe it was like almost afternoon there. And it was still, I believe, 8 o'clock here. So a little bit of time difference. So I'm gonna do something that you're probably never gonna hear me do again. But it does come from Nick a while for Nick sometimes. I'm gonna talk about Purdue. So Purdue is renovating their stadium, Ross-Ade Stadium, by the way, and they're adding more seating into the south end zone area. And it looks like and sounds like renovations will be completed by the start of the season. If you know anything about Ross-Ade Stadium and Purdue's football stadium, you know it's kind of a poor man's horseshoe. Obviously, when I say the horseshoe, the first thing that would come to your mind if you are a sports fan would be Ohio Stadium, where Ohio State plays, and they call it the horseshoe because it's a horseshoe. So Purdue is kind of that poor man's version of it. It's not really a horseshoe, but I mean it kind of does look like a horseshoe. But they're adding more seating, and putting in more patio areas. I don't know Purdue that much, so when I say patio areas, if you're a Purdue fan, you've been there, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you're not a Purdue fan, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. Kind of like I do right now. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, moving on. GCU. Gotta bring up my school. Grand Canyon won its third straight Western Athletic Conference Commissioner's Cup. This is given out to the best performing athletic department in the conference. And GCU has been named best performing athletic conference for the past 3 years. So this is a big time pickup. Congratulations to the GCU Lopes on winning this. Just awesome. Let's make it 4 next year. Conference finals for NBA. Game 7. Miami was able to close out the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals Monday night. That was May 29th in Boston, and the final score was 103-84. Jimmy Butler finished with 28 points. Caleb Martin had 26 points and 10 rebounds, and Bam Adebayo had 12 points and 10 rebounds. Those players play for the Miami Heat. And then for the Celtics, Jaylen Brown had 19 points. Derek White had 18 points. And Jason Tatum had 14 for the Celtics as well. Also, all but 2 Celtics players had a positive plus-minus ratio for the game. Plus-minus is the average points your team is down by or up by. So you take your team score, the other team score, add it up. Yeah, I really don't know how they come up with the plus minus that well. But I think it's the average points your team is up by or down by. And all but 2 Celtics had a positive one. I believe the highest on there was 20. And I believe it was Jason Tatum. And then Miami moves on to face the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. And then, so Game 1 was June 1st. That was Thursday. And then Denver won that by the score of 104-93. Jokic finished with another triple-double. obviously, with 27 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 assists. Jamal Murray added 26 points and 10 assists. And Michael Porter Jr. added 14 points and grabbed 23 rebounds for the Nuggets. For the Heat, Bam Adebayo had 26 points and 13 rebounds, and Jimmy Butler only had 13. So a good defense on Jimmy Butler and forced Bam Adebayo to basically run the team, and I don't think Miami likes to do that. Give me the Nuggets in Game 2. Give me the Nuggets for the series in 6. Making my prediction now. Mark it down. Believe it's going 6 games, and the Denver Nuggets will pull off the win in 6 games. Other NBA news now. The Golden State Warriors president and general manager, Bob Myers, is stepping down. He's not renewing his contract. This was not a surprise because both parties did not discuss contract renewal during the season and in the offseason, and it was pretty speculated that Myers was going to leave the team fairly soon, and when he did, it wasn't surprising. But in his 11 seasons as the GM/president of the Warriors, they went 571 and 304 in the regular season, and then 108 and 51 in the playoffs. They also won. They were also 5-time Pacific Division champions, 6-time Western Conference champions, reached the NBA Finals 6 times, and then were 4-time NBA champions in 2014-15, 2016-17, 2017-18, and 2021-2022. Yes, that was when it was. Myers was also named the Executive of the Year 2 times, and that was in 2014-15 and 2016-17. And Myers was also the one who helped the Warriors draft Draymond Green and also pick up Kevin Durant in the offseason of 2016 in the summer, which was a big pickup after the Warriors went 73-9. People still call that a bad move for Kevin Durant's part, but Kevin Durant was just chasing a ring at that point. Most players are now. They're chasing rings. And then also in the Western Conference, former Suns head coach Monty Williams has agreed to a 6-year, $72 million deal to become the next head coach of the Detroit Pistons. And then I saw this little snippet here, and I thought this would be a good thing to add. So someone found out that based on incentives and team options and stuff like that, so reaching the conference finals, stuff like that, whatever, what have you, the deal could reach 8 years and be $100 million. So this deal will be finalized in the coming days. If it's not finalized by today, it'll be finalized probably tomorrow. It probably already has been, and I just haven't been paying attention. Then Frank Vogel, former LA Lakers head coach and Indiana Pacers head coach, is now becoming the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns, and his contract is going to be 5 years, $31 million. So, lot of players moving around, a lot of coaches moving around. This is only going to start the whole process of this. Be ready to see a lot of players moving once the NBA Finals are over and done. The offseason is when everything becomes crazy, as we saw in the summer of 2016. So with that, we're going to wrap up episode 15. Thanks for joining. Tune in next week. Until then, so long, everybody. Hey guys, it's Kenny, host of The Good Fight. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you want to hear more, you can check out our website at thelugnutspodcastgroup.com for all information related to the podcast and where to listen to us. You can also follow the Patreon page for exclusive benefits for the show. Join us next time for The Good Fight.